What's happening, boys? Is all right?
I'm getting ready to strangle Sunday, if I'm honest, and he's on this bloody call
34
meeting. What is
34 minutes for 3 grown men to get a new platform to work.
Is it not working? I can hear you fine, and everyone seems to be all right on my side.
Well, that was sarcasm, Kev, so well done. Everybody gets a small insight into what we've been dealing with for the past 35 minutes. I don't know why he's shouting either. If you can't wait for the podcast to be uploaded onto the platforms, just open your windows. There's a chance you'll probably hear Kev shouting at the top of his lungs about how Hearts beat St Mirren in the Scottish Cup. Just excited, Kev. That's what it is, isn't it?
That's it, mate. That's it. All these people keep telling me that we were names on the cup. Bunch of wankers.
Right. Well, what's happening, boys? Are we all good?
my blood pressure's up because of this whole shit show at the start. But I'm okay. I'm okay. Been a few weeks since I've been on, but I'm all good.
You just chill in the background, try to bring that blood pressure down. We're getting to an age now where we've got to look out for each other, aren't we?
Exactly.
Did you burp, Kev, or did you actually say a word there?
I just said that's true.
Right.
We're all getting older.
Cool. Kev, what's been happening? You all good?
Not too bad, mate. Just the usual. Work, sleep, work, have something to eat, back to work, sleep. Nothing changes. Exactly the life that we all lead. Same as no doubt everybody else.
Well, except some of us aren't IT Jannies, and you are an IT Janny and can get a laptop to work, so that's something that needs to be reviewed immediately. If you're lucky that the year-end process at work is finished, you can only get better in 2025, Kevin.
Aye, well, I'm sure that's everybody's motto, is it not?
That's true. New me, new you, or what is it? No, new year, new me. There you go, Kev. That's for you.
Thanks, mate.
Ando, what's been happening?
Nothing. Not been to a Hearts game in ages. Not been on this pod for ages. And I'm still an angry, bitter, twisted son of a bitch. So I'm looking forward to having a chat.
Nice. I'm back from my hiatus in Casa del Corbett. The extension behind me, funded by Ann Budge and the Foundation of Hearts, to buy my silence, stop arranging protests, stop moaning, back in the podcast and jump back on the We Are Hearts, everything's class bandwagon. So thanks for the TV behind me. You'll get nothing but absolute positive rainbows and happy clapping from me today. Everything's fantastic. I did laugh that we walked in at St Mirren was the first game I've been to since Petrol Pub, and my own individual protest of not going to watch Hearts, and then I convinced myself, right, go, might as well, let's go back. Walked into whatever it's called Smisa or whatever.
Somewhere. Just Lidl.
Aldi, Stadium in Paisley, and stood immediately next to Stuart Wallace, ex-Foundation of Hearts. I was like, oh, fantastic. A bit of serendipity right there. What could possibly go wrong on this night? So he had his ears burnt, his lugs burnt for 86 minutes until Callum Neuenhoff rescued us about how the club, again, is just going to chuck millions of pounds away. This is the crap that we have to watch. We're just going to nonchalantly throw the last opportunity of European football. As Neuenhoff scored the equaliser. Cool. Well, there we go. We'll talk all things Hearts, obviously. Hearts are through to the quarterfinals of the Scottish Cup. Finally, after what feels like an eternity, we have a home Scottish Cup tie. Well, it's Celtic, the last one that we had at home. At home to Dundee, a genuine, realistic opportunity to get to Hampden. And this revival of saving what was an absolute catastrophic season, we're now motoring into something that resembles a very good run of form, turning into a very good side again in terms of, Monday wasn't pretty, but we said during Aberdeen's start to the season where we were languished at the bottom of the league that we were playing well and not winning. They were playing horrendous and picking up points. I know what one builds confidence and what one absolutely kills you. We've seen gritty performances, brilliant performances, so we're getting there. We look forward to Rangers, Tynecastle, Sunday. A big test in the sort of credentials of the recent revival, so we'll talk about that. Just talk nonsense of all sorts, as we always do. Sound good, boys?
Sure does.
Any Hearts news? Anything that we want to talk about?
Nah, I was just looking.
Oh, really?
Now that the transfer window has slammed shut, because it can only ever slam shut, can it just close quietly? We've covered all that already, and so the only real news has just been the results, really. That's it, as far as I know.
And
Unless
Chris
you've got
won
any
his award
behind the
for
scenes
Manager
stuff.
of the Month.
Oh, Critcher. Yeah, and he got a win, or he made it through. Normally that curse strikes, didn't it? You win Manager of the Month and then immediately lose. So you're in a good space. Ando, obviously, I mean, it's been a while since me and you've been on. What was your thoughts on the first official transfer window with Jamestown?
It felt measured, and what's the word? It felt careful, but also risky at the same time, if that makes sense. Right? I didn't really know quite how to articulate that properly. It's like we went and done all the things that we needed to do, and I think, well, if only the fullness of time will tell us whether it was the right thing to do or not. But it's one of those. I look at it and go, some of the names that you come in, you don't know any of these guys, right? And can he help but feel a little bit triggered from the Craig Levein days, where every 6 months we just go out and buy an entirely new squad? Like, they were all shite, and maybe one of them was good, and that's it. But I don't know. I think from what I've seen since the transfer window and everybody that's played, it's encouraging. And it actually gives you a wee bit of excitement and positivity looking forward to the end of the season, which I genuinely never thought we would see.
Yeah, I'm the same. I've been very impressed with our business over January. Some of the outgoings as well, but not only some people ended up staying, but I like the noise coming out of the club of the whole, basically everybody can go. Everybody has their price. You know, this thing we've spoke about, loads of Hearts fans will know the same feeling about everybody's got a shelf life, and some of our players we've hung on to for maybe too long, missed the opportunity to sell them at their peak, or kept them as they slowly descend away from their best. When you look at, you know, Barry Mackay, Liam Boyce, Craig Halkett, all these guys, the idea that actually the way that Jamestown works is the incremental player sales. You know, spend 400,000, sell somebody for 500,000, sell 600. Do you know what I mean? Like that staged thing to bring it up, and it looks very encouraging. It's early doors, obviously, but the players that we have brought in, I think McCart has been. It's no surprise that since he started playing, our results have got better. We've had an upturn in defensive performances. He seems assured. He looks a good addition. Kabangu as well, obviously. Everything that we've been missing for ages and ages. I wouldn't read too much into the performance on Monday night, which we'll go into in a minute. But I think that he'll help Cammy Devlin. I think he'll help Lawrence Shankland. I think he'll help the winners, because I've said before, I think one of the issues or the things that people get annoyed with Cammy Devlin is that Hearts were giving him the ball or asking him to win the ball back 25, 30 yards from our goal, and then carry that ball forward 40, 50 yards to get us out of trouble, or pick passes that could get us out of trouble. And that's just the winning the ball back thing, and agitating and breaking up play is what he's really, really good at. But carrying the ball, picking passes, creating, probably not a strong suit. Having Kabangu up front means that we can turn defences and we can go ask Cammy Devlin to go win the ball back 30 yards from the opposition goal. You know, go agitate, go win it back and get to somebody, one of the attacking players up front. I think you've really seen that at its best versus Dundee. You know, you look at, I think he was indirectly involved in almost every goal, and he was in a real good run of form. I think he misses Rangers on Sunday because did he go off with concussion on Monday? Was that the diagnosis?
That's my understanding anyway.
Don't know.
So, I think is it 2 weeks in the sidelines for a
10 days.
Concussion? Yeah, 10 days. So he'll miss Rangers. But it's felt really measured, and we've got the players that we want in, which I like. And again, Kev, on Monday when I watched Lewis Nielsen, and it's nothing against Lewis Nielsen and Adam Forrester, I think that they're good young players, so they've got potential. I don't. Maybe Forrester slightly different, but Lewis Nielsen, I just don't think they're going to fit in or be starters for Hearts in the near future. I think Steinwinder came in the opening 5 minutes of settling into the game. You know, he maybe was bad positioning or not set properly to win his first header and got kind of brushed off it and didn't win the header, and then obviously learned a very steep lesson very quickly not to pass the ball back to Craig Gordon on that tatty field. But after that, he absolutely strolled it, and it was no surprise that, to be honest with you, St Mirren, who battered us in the first half, really kind of fell out of the game. They just couldn't get into the areas that Mandron and Olasanya just fell out of the game, and McCart and Steinlander just nullified everything that they did. I actually felt a bit like people forget this about the George Burley season. See those opening 3 or 4 games, we were still playing Stephen Simmons or whatever he was called, Stephen Simmons and Jamie McAllister, Neil McFarlane. They were all still there as we were waiting on guys to get fit, guys to come in, etc. That you could tell that what we'd brought in was a level above, if you know what I mean. And that's kind of what it's felt like in this window. The guys that have come in seem to be of a different standard to the players that they've replaced. I even thought Carton played okay on Monday night, given where he's been, not played for ages, the season that he's been in, not played since December. You're asking him to go play in what was stereotypically a kick and rush Scottish football cup game where you're just asking him to jump for headers, take 50-50s, and if you get a bit of space to run into, and I think he did well. So yeah, I thought it was a good transfer window. The proof will be in the pudding, obviously, as now into the end of the season plays out, but encouraging signs for me, which was decent. Cabango looks like. Do we have a loan? Do we have the obligation to buy him?
I believe so. I'm not entirely sure, and I'd defer to somebody more in the know, like Joe Sked or whatever, because he'll definitely know the skinny on it. But I believe that's what's been quoted in our community chat. And so, you keep your powder dry, obviously, but then you go, right, what is it, 7 games or something he's played for us? He scored 5 goals in 6 or 7 games. Like, I don't think there's anybody has had as fast a start as that in a generation.
Was it 4 starts? And there'd been his 4th start on Monday, I think. Came on as a sub against Aberdeen, but he's played Kilmarnock, Brecon, Dundee, St Mirren. I think that's his fourth game, and he had a driving shot in the first half. He did really well. A bit the pitch kind of done him for the chance in the 98th minute type thing, but what I like about him is he never panicked. He knew that the ball was getting away from him, but he still knew that he could get there with the keeper rather than try to scuff a shot or whatever. He's obviously tried to go around him. Angle was just a bit against him, but he's looked.
He's one of these guys as well. See, as every game goes on, you see more and more from him, right? So it's not as if you're still waiting to see stuff. Okay, yeah, you are still waiting to see stuff, but I've seen enough in the 4 or 5 games that I've seen that I already love him, right? And when was the last time I said that about a player, right? Liam Boyce, I've never said this, right? And this is the bit that is really, really annoying me, because when, like, Boyce, I couldn't stand Boyce. It's like he took ages to get off the mark, and it's been well documented that my thoughts on the early days of Shankland were, well, actually proved me wrong, and obviously both of them did. But I've not even had time to even get to a space where I don't like this guy. He's just off the mark and running. And that's the expectation I've got with every single Hearts player that we ever sign, because I suppose deep down I'm an optimist, and you always want everyone to be brilliant, and when they're not, it's a crushing disappointment. But this guy is tickling my pickle, so to speak. And he's got me
He's been
excited.
everything that we needed, Kev. Hasn't he? He's been, even for like a Shankland and a Wilson, I think he's been everything that we needed to sort of change the way that we've been trying to play.
It's not just, in my opinion, it's not just about the way we want to play. It's the way we want to actually be perceived as we move forward with this whole Jamestown and becoming let's be honest, we want to become a fairly more successful club. It's the kind of player we want. We've been calling out for a player like that. And as Ando's just said, he's hit the ground running. I think maybe there's an element in his opinion as well that he needs to show people back in Belgium that they were wrong not to give him more time. But I'm quite happy to see that he's hit the ground. He's scoring goals. He's bringing a lot of other players into it as well. And I think you look at the chance, and we'll speak about it later. The chance he had late on in the game on Monday night. I think that it was maybe the wrong ball to give from Khartoum, but as I say, well, he should have maybe went to Wilson instead. But he done everything right. Whereas, as you rightly say, that strikers of past, with the exception of Shankland, would have probably rushed it, smashed it over the bar, well wide, whatever. He just looks a little bit more composed on the ball, which can only be a good thing for everybody that's playing around about him.
Well, I think if you go to any of the fan forums or Hearts Twitter over the past maybe 4 or 5 seasons, actually for quite a while now, actually, one of our biggest bugbearers or moans is the one dimension of football. The plan B is to do plan A better, side to side, constantly facing your own goal, all that. That's to get Monday night Gary Nev and Jamie Carragher stuff. That's a result of us being unable to beat a press, whether it be because we're not playing at a high enough tempo, we're not got players confident enough to take their man on and face their men up, or we're just not aggressive enough, we're not started the game the way that we need to, and we would just rinse and repeat. Left back, centre back, right back, centre back, left back, Gordon out, throw in. Like that, we did that on repeat, constant, and it used to just drive people insane. Cabango being fast and rapid, being strong and able to hold the ball up means that actually, and we did it poorly on Monday, is that we were being pressed by St Mirren aggressively, and it kind of spooked us. I think the early chance for Olasanya, where he put it over the bar when Gordon was caught in no man's land and McCart was caught under the ball, kind of spooked us, and we just reverted to going long aimlessly, which didn't do anybody any favours. But we were going, and we've been more direct, playing with Cabango up top, because one, you can turn defenders. So instead of asking Cammy Devlin and Benny and the players to pass the ball and drive the team up the pitch, what you can say is, we'll put it into a channel, we'll put it down the sides, Cabango will go chase it or hold it up, and everybody naturally just push up the pitch and squeeze them up the pitch. So start squeezing St Mirren in an area of the park where they don't want to be, where they then just have to aimlessly punt it away down the park, and then you can recycle the ball and start to play through the lines. And if it breaks down again, or you're under pressure, you've got the release of put it over the top, put it into a channel, somebody will chase it. And it's helped us. It's helped us massively. It's been no surprise that we started to score goals, but also that we've been keeping clean sheets, because we've not been trying to play passes into dangerous areas where we can get robbed or have our pockets picked. Whenever we're in trouble, we're using the out ball, going long, turning the team that we're playing, making them face their own goal and getting us 5-10 yards further up the park in it. And when we do it well, it works really, really well. Monday, like I said, I think we were a bit spooked from how slow we started the pitch, the aggressive nature of St Mirren. We just didn't compete in the first half, but Cabanga's been instrumental in making sure that we have changed our style of play and we're reaping the rewards for it. So, yeah, pretty exciting times. Before we talk about St Mirren, what we've been up to since the last time we've been on, I attended the Federation of Hearts Q&A with Andrew McKinley, the CEO of the club. Again, I know we've got a lot of things to say about Andrew McKinley. I know there's a lot of big opinions on him, but the one thing is he never backs down from these things. He's always front and centre. He'll always face up when he needs to come and explain what's going on. So he sat in front of a room of 50 Hearts fans and answered questions, angry questions, and answered them the best he could. You know, this was pre-Dundee. This was still where you're thinking you lose to Dundee or you don't pick up the points against Dundee. You know, you're looking over your shoulder to second bottom again and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, it wasn't a neutral venue by any means. He got grilled for a lot of things and answered them pretty well, which was decent. Some of the highlights, he spoke about Tony Bloom. Obviously, the club can't confirm that it's definitely happening, but it's definitely happening. That Tony Bloom's going to invest money into the club. It's going to be a dialogue.
See, just on this. Sorry to cut you off. Why can't? Right? Because the worst kept secret. Why can't they come out and say anything about it? Like, there's even even just a statement of intent, which is, well, we can't come out and comment on it, but at least come out and say something. Like, yeah, we're actively in talks, or
well,
I think to do X, Y, Z.
I think they've been, because of the exclusivity deals that they sign, and they don't. It's hard. It's like being invited to the Willy Wonka chocolate factory. All right, it's not you can't chap on the door and go in and see. Like, do you know what I mean? But I know we got Tam for there when his UmTAMlumpa
we got him for the B&M bargains bin, and even in the markdown bin.
He got chucked out of the chocolate factory. But it's one of those things that they don't want noise. They don't want people in on the deal. I think Hearts have guarded with it in terms of it's a ridiculously huge opportunity. And again, if anybody's listened to the BBC Sounds Romanoff podcast thing or whatever, I don't want to talk about that anyway because it'll just get me angry. But all that does was just show you how close to something unbelievable we really, really were. That George Burley season, and what we're looking to do is transformational, not just for us, but it will transform the league. It will change the football landscape. So I don't think it's that they're being secretive or that they're not. You know, it's not like they're embargoing people or stopping people from being able to talk about it, and they talk about it openly. I think they just want to be guarded about it rather than secretive, because the next part of the problem or the next part of the process is that it will be a dilution of shares that Tony Bloom will be offered. So again, that means that either an Ann Budge, for example, will have to give up their shareholding, or it'll have to be the Foundation of Hearts that dissolve some of their shares that Tony Bloom can buy. And then there's obviously the dual ownership, the UEFA regs, all that stuff with them owning Brighton, USG. It's just what I think it's one of those things. But for all intents and purposes, he pretty much said that it's going to happen. When they can release news, there will be news. There will be investment, substantial investment. It's really exciting. So that was a good one. He spoke a lot of stuff, and anger was aired at him about away fans in the home end, with the Celtic game in particular being brought up. I didn't stoke the fire. I didn't play any. I just sat back and let them answer the questions. It wasn't like I'd riled the crowd up into a frenzy to ambush them. So he spoke about it. They talked. People had raised about, can we not just ban Celtic fans? They moan that they don't want the 600 tickets. We don't want them in the stadium. The last 3 seasons, our games versus Celtic have been our lowest attended games. Andrew said that Obviously, they announce on the match day how many tickets have been sold, but he also has a report where you can see how many people have come through the turnstiles. I think for the last Celtic game, it was something lower than 12,000 that were actually inside Tynecastle. So it shows you that it's a game that no one wants to come to. So people press to be like, well, why bother giving them tickets? Why don't you? But again, it opens a can of worms because, like it or not, they'll buy tickets anyway. I think that we know that from them buying and driving into the hospitality packages, which are sold to third-party vendors who then sell them on to Celtic fans that want in. Then you have the strange phenomenon of Hearts fans that sell tickets to Celtic fans, Rangers fans. On Sunday, there will be Rangers fans in the home end from Hearts fans that have given them their season ticket or allowed them to use their reference number to buy season ticket, which is just crazy, which is just bananas. So he answered those questions. We kind of talked about the TV deal. It was interesting to hear his thoughts on it. He was of an opinion where one day he could potentially see people not having a TV deal, just focusing on their own broadcasting for the money that it brings in. But the problem that we have is that a high proportion of the clubs in Scotland, they need money immediately. That's why the phenomenon now this season of away and direct to away fans like Dundee, I think St Johnstone, Dundee United, they're all selling tickets directly to Hearts fans rather than through Hearts, if you know what I mean. But that's because they need the money directly and instantly. So the way it works normally is Hearts would sell 1,500 tickets for Monday night and then bank transfer it or send it, and it could take 5-6 working days, whatever it may be, for the money to be transferred. The clubs need the money and access to that money immediately. So we'd rather just sell 1,500 tickets to Hearts fans directly via their website. So
yeah.
But
which is fine.
Questions. Want to go, Kev?
Sorry to jump in and just maybe ask a question that followed on from that. With regards to clubs selling directly to Hearts fans and Hearts, of course, still using their loyalty scheme for purchases for Easter Road, Ibrox, whatever. Was there anything mentioned around how they would address that particular element?
Yes, they're going to discuss it. It was something that not that they weren't aware of, but again, it's like any business. There'll be things that go back and get plugged into the board directly, and there'll be things that they wouldn't have never heard about unless they'd be told about it. Away ticket pricing was discussed as well, positively and negatively about Hearts too. Somewhat with people in the room had brought up the fact that Hearts charge a hell of a lot of money for an away ticket for visiting sides to Tynecastle. Would we be willing to be one of the clubs that backed a 20s plenty campaign type thing if it kicked off, and have a universal capped away day ticket in the SPL? Again, he said that he would look into it. The way they price it is based on how other clubs price us type thing. Folk could raise about £36 to go to Pittodrie. The facilities that you have available to you in Pittodrie, the porta cabins outside. It's horrible. Dundee United as well. The ticket situation there, how much we pay for it, the facilities inside the stadium. Do Hearts concerns about these stadiums when they go to them, given how scrutinised we've been in terms of making Tynecastle ready for European games? So yeah, there was loads of stuff. They spoke about Jamestown and how Jamestown worked. He gave his opinion on the start to the season, rightly or wrongly. They said things like, they would never have a situation where they had Kev lined up to replace Ando, and Ando gets sacked on a Monday and Kev's in the seat on the Tuesday, because they don't want that to be the reputation of the club. They want managers to come in and feel that they are backed, that they have the full support of the people in the club. It's not to say that they don't have, running tabs on people that they may be interested in speaking to and have ways of keeping tabs, but they basically said that they like to support the manager, give the manager as much time as they can, rightly or wrongly said, there's pros and cons to that, which is fair enough. I get that. I understand why the club would want to be that, especially given where we came from previous owners, where every 4 months we shed a manager. So the long-term longevity of the projects are kind of more important than the short-term pain. But acknowledge that there's a difference between short-term pain and the worst campaign start in our entire history, and long periods of sitting bottom of the league. We also talked about pre-season. People probed him on why was it so bad or why was it signed off, and again, the answer he gave was a fair one. He said that, again, we have to trust the manager. The manager delivered third at a canter. We get to 2 cup semi-finals. We backed him in the transfer window with sensible, good players that we thought would improve the squad. No one foreseen the terrible start to the season. So yeah, we have queries, we've got questions, we had our own concerns. He said that he was very worried about the performances rolling into the new season, but then obviously we started pretty well against Rangers when we won 0-0. So again, they were all sensible answers. He fronted up. He didn't try and pan anybody off. He gave the answers to the best of their ability. So fair play to it. Some of it was waffle, some of it's boardroom waffle. But who are we to poke holes in anybody talking shite? We talk shite on the internet every other week. You just talk shit in a fan room. And that brings me on to my last point, which is who the hell signed off the artwork in the fan bar? Okay, he's ever been to the fan bar?
Mm-hmm.
Like genuine?
Not for ages.
Not for a while, but yeah.
Well, was it bar 1874 or something like that?
Something like that,
Correct.
So one of the main big walls down this side where you're walking as if you're going to go to the toilet is like a wall of match programs, like blown up, sort of like big things, right? Now,
okay.
So you would think we've won 3 trophies in my lifetime. We've beaten Bayern Munich. We've beat Bordeaux, Bâle. We've had countless unbelievable derby victories. We've beat Celtic 4-0. We've done hundreds of things to celebrate. And on that memorial, or whatever you want to call it, celebration wall, we have the 2010 League Cup semi-final defeat by St Mirren at Far Park on the wall. We've got the CIS League Cup final where we lost 3-2 to St Mirren at Hampden. That's up there.
Can remember that one well.
Yeah, mate. Well, you think you remember that one? Wait until I tell you that the 1973 Hearts 11 versus Scotland 11 pre-season friendly programme is up there. Who can forget that? Classic. There's such memorable games as the pre-season friendly versus Man City. That was a belter. For the guys of Kev's generation, the Texaco Cup, where we played Burnley at Tynecastle. That fantastic occasion, that grand event where we played in that game. So who signs this shit off? Honestly, like, how hard is it to look at that and say no?
You must be one of the only folk that have actually looked at that.
Well, any time I've been in it, there's been hundreds of folk there, and it's like bar full of folk. You didn't really notice it. If you've been in it empty, I can understand why, but I've never been in it when there's been.
Well, the next time, the people
I don't disbelieve you, and it's just another thing to add to the list of why Hearts are, like, in certain regards, are absolutely just juvenile tin pot shoddy operation. Right? It's nonsense.
One of the photos in the lobby of the main stand is Ian Cathro's Hearts. I'm like, who the fuck put that up? Get that down, man. What are you doing? They've got 3 Scottish Cup winning teams that you could put up there. Like, what are you doing?
I think this is actually part of a marketing ploy by
no, it's a mistake.
No, let me finish. So this is actually a marketing ploy by McKinley and Corbett. They've been sat at the back of the room talking about it. And because Corbett's raised it today, what's going to do is drive people into the 1874 bar on Sunday, which buying pints and everything else. It's actually quite a clever idea.
Corbett's on commission. Get understood.
Correct.
You see my beautiful kitchen and extension behind me.
You've got to pay for it.
Your ski lodge.
And let's finish that on how lovely the new Foundation of Hearts tribute kit is. I must say, what a wonderful piece of memorabilia.
Right, so
can have.
This will tell you everything you need to know, right? What am I like for buying kits?
I was going to say, if you pull it out right now, I'll be upset with you.
Right, so I've and it again has been well documented for everyone that's followed us over the years of listening to this. Then I usually will buy at least one, maybe two jerseys a season. Not because I wear them, just because I don't know. I feel like I'm doing my bit somehow. Like not only buying a season ticket and spending money on match days and all that sort of stuff. Just my way of, I don't know, contributing. And some of them are smart. Some of the designs are absolutely cool. I own the Roseberry top. We've seen me wear that on previous episodes of this. That thing is an absolute abomination. It should be it should be torched, launched into the sea, whatever you want to do. Just wipe it out of existence. It is an absolutely dreadful thing.
Well,
absolutely
exactly what it needed today. It got people speaking, didn't it?
Well,
it got people talking. We waited 6 months for it, and it came. I actually had, if Hearts hadn't been winning games, and I'm that petty of a man, I was actually going to get a plain white T-shirt and write our names in it and biro and hang it up in the back and say, I bought the Foundation kit. But I'm not a better man, as you know. I don't hold grudges.
Are you sure?
I'm happy-go-lucky. Everything's perfect.
Shut up, man.
Wait till you see the garden Hearts are paying for me. I'm going to have AstroTurf out there, and Neil Critchley's got to come down and do half ollies with me every other day. It's going to be superb. Right, let's talk about football then. Monday in the Smisa Stadium, we think we've got it bad with Graham Easton saying, Hearts of Midlothian. I shit you not. The St Mirren guy says, let's Saints this together. Come on, you Saints, is what he says. So instead of saying, let's say this together, he says, let's Saint this together. And then they chant, come on, you Saints. So
holy shit.
Yeah. So things are not always as bad as what they seem. Sometimes they can you can realise that they're worse off. The halftime games, Kev, were you there Monday?
No, I couldn't make it. I was working late, so I couldn't get through to Paisley in time. So I just watched it on the telly.
So at halftime, they had John, whoever John is, appeared to be a fat steward, stand on the halfway line, and 4 people were to stand on the City-Shire box and kick the ball closest to the halfway line, right? Which, to be fair, is that's a decent skill. Like if you manage to do it. Now you're thinking, I think I've seen a couple of basketball games in America where people like win £1 million, win a car, win a holiday or whatever. So one of the guys, I think it was called Ewan, he won the halftime. He got it pretty much bang on the centre circle, an absolute belter. Do you know what he won?
The Foundation of Hearts Memorial Top.
He won a voucher. He didn't get them. He won a voucher to get a pie and a bovril. Fantastic, eh? Fantastic. I looked on the way out. That was £7.20.
So what kind of pie though? Was he limited in regards to the kind of pie, or because I believe St Mirren do a half decent?
I'm going to moan about that in a minute as well. Because what is football coming to? Total nonsense. Spaghetti carbonara pies. What are we doing? What's happening to the world? Just get a Scotch pie and watch the football. In fact, I would go to the days where we sell nothing at football. No kiosks for selling nothing. If you're hungry, eat before you go. You're only out the door for 2 hours. You can live without having to eat. Grow up. So he won a pie and a bottle, a voucher for a pie and a bottle. And then the other game was the Paisley Panda stood and people chucked tennis balls at him. Closest to the Paisley Panda won a box of pastries from the Paisley Greggs, or whatever it's called.
Wow.
So
try to work out what the better prize is.
So I know. And then I was thinking to myself, I would rather have Alan Forrest tapping the ball in against Dundee in a meaningless game, play on repeat on the big screens, than chucking fucking tennis balls at Pandas. Like, I would rather, give me that all day. Give me Hearts of Midlothian and Alan Forrest over Panda chucking. 100%.
Well, would you prefer to chuck maybe something a little bit harder, say a cricket ball at Hearty Harry? Seeing how
Hearty Harry is a hero. Nice lander. I was at the Falkirk Stadium on Saturday, which will be my new home for the rest of the season, and they have a squirrel as their match
as
guy.
a mascot.
Aye.
A squirrel.
I don't know why, but there you go. I don't know what that's got to do with Falkirk. I don't know what's got to do with it. They also have crunchy carrots on their top. Maybe that's got to do with the mascot. I don't know, but there you go.
I think you should ask somebody. Find out the real story. Why they got a squirrel and why they got carrots. You must be able to find somebody that can tell you the answers.
Well, you can. Somebody works at Falkirk, so ask him.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know if that's discussed in any depth when you sign for a football club, but I'll ask the question. I'll ask. Right, St Mirren, Monday night. To be fair, and I get it. Times that we live in, expense, etc. for football and Hingway, but it was a pretty poor home crowd. I think they announced the match attendance is something like 4,200, and there was like 1,600 Hearts fans there. So it was pretty empty. I don't know if it picked it up on the TV or whatever. And again, I know that come Sunday versus Rangers, we will also be we'll also probably have gaps all over the place. But I expected, for it being such a big game, it puts you one game away from Hampden. I thought that maybe had a bigger home crowd than what we ended up with. But what was your thoughts, Ando, pre-game on Monday?
Well, I thought the team was actually all right, given what we were going into. Like St Mirren away, like we know over the years it's been a tough venue to go to, but also balanced with the fact that St Mirren have been a pretty poor run recently. It's like one win in the last 5 or 6 or something like that. And so when pre-game, when I seen the team away at St Mirren, cameras Monday night, the usual nerves. But when I looked at it, I thought, we'll be all right here. I think I fancied us to win and win well. Obviously, that was way off the mark. But
Kev, what was your thoughts starting 11? Was there any surprises in there?
I think the only surprise, and probably everybody would say the same thing, was to see Musa out the team and in came Forrest. I think everybody's also say that right-hand side of the pitch at the moment isn't as good as or isn't as balanced as the left-hand side, and definitely something that needs to be looked at during the summer. But that was probably the only surprise.
Yeah, did be any word on Musa? Is he taken off? Was it illness or whatever? Because he wasn't in the squad at all, was he?
No, there was nothing I read anyway, pre-game or after the game as to why.
Yeah, again, I wasn't. To be honest, I wasn't that bothered that Musa wasn't there. I understand that one of the things that we've said before about you keep a winning team. So I was shocked to see changes, but obviously it doesn't look like it was a tactical thing. It was look more like he physically must not have been fit, hence why he wasn't there. The right hand side's a good thing to call it because I think it's so glaringly obvious that the left hand side is so good for Hearts that teams now just press and make us funnel everything down that right-hand side because we just don't have the continuity on that side of the park all season. I think that Gerard Taylor being back will definitely help. Carton's been brought into play on the right. I think that we were at the Federation rally when the players were there last Sunday, and Neil Critchlow was there, he spoke, and during the sort of meet and greets when people were speaking, and Critchlow had mentioned to folk that I think he sees it as the best team or the strongest team having Devlin and Hoff in the middle of the park with Cartram on the right and playing on the right. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops. I think one of the things I'd caveat with saying is that Adam Forrester has had none of the same opportunity to sort of embed a relationship with somebody in front of him as what Penrice and Spittle have. So he always kind of gets a benefit of the doubt for me, although he's looked shaky 100%. I'm not going to defend and say that he's been superb or he's been unlucky. He has genuinely looked like it's maybe a season too soon for him. Maybe it would get better with the experience. But it's glaringly obvious that the benefits of sticking with a partnership that you think is the right one that will work in the long term will pay dividends, because it was the same with Penrice and Spittle. We tried that left-hand side all season. We've had Danda there. We've played different types of formations to see what we could get the best out of and who we could get the best out of. So Forrest coming in with Forrester, I think, is a combination that we'll potentially not see for the rest of the season, and probably fully. So we started pretty shakily. Did it surprise you how poor we started?
There you go, Kev.
I was going to say yes, but I think that's because everybody had such a high expectation, given that the weekend before you'd spanked Dundee 6-0. The automatic thought process is that you expect just to run out, and you're as cohesive as you were the week before, which just simply wasn't the case. Pitch was terrible, so I think the idea of playing the ball on the ground just didn't materialise the way they maybe had planned in their shape the weekend before. So yeah, I think that was the expectation. But you said it earlier on. You always know that St Mirren are going to come out early. They're going to come out. They're going to be strong. They're going to press. They've got the opportunities, and then one, not a mistake, but just getting caught under the ball from McCart placed everybody a little bit more at tender hooks in the defence.
Yeah, I think there's loads of stuff that has to factor into Monday. It was a very sluggish start. I think Neil Critchlow spoke well after the game, talked about it. It wasn't, in terms of poor start, we didn't do anything differently to how we've tried to start other games. We just didn't match their aggression. I think they were a lot more in our faces, a lot more up for it. Or what we mean when we say up for it wasn't that the players weren't up for it, but they were definitely more aggressive than us, Ando, in that opening first 45 minutes.
Yeah, 100%. To the point, because I sat watching it in the pub with some of the guys for work, and I remember saying that I was like, well, this wasn't in the fucking plan. I wasn't expecting it. Like they came out, and for the first 20-25 minutes, absolutely battered us solid. And I thought, fuck, this is only going one way. But obviously, turned out to be slightly different in the end. But it wasn't it was a slow start, and I think that's like over the years we've been really, really guilty of that. Under different management regimes of. Because how many times have you said this as well, Corbett? If you've been at a game 5 minutes in, but don't have a fast start, you will be in the group chat or messaging whoever and going, we're going to get scudded 3-0. And it usually is often the case. We need a fast start against teams like this. And it needs to happen every single game.
I think league games, you'd maybe be a bit, I'm not saying daft, but you'd maybe be a bit more angry with the start. But it's the cup. It was the last game before the draw, so you were the last ones to play. We watched Rangers go out the competition, which makes everybody except Celtic, pay attention to be like, well, listen, one half of the Old Firm's gone, so it opens up the pathway potential to 2 trips to Hampden. You can get for a semi, get there for the final. They're at home. I think they're below us in the league now. I think as well they've been hit or miss in the league. They're trying to change their short-term history in terms of they're looking for 3 seasons in the top 6. So that they have loads of reasons to be up for it. Do you know what I mean? I think also you beat someone 6-0 and a side that was on decent form. I know they've went on to be beaten 6-0 off Celtic as well, or 7-0, whatever it ended up. But they'll be looking at our performance and thinking, right, we have to be a level above where we normally are because they're flying. And I think the opening sort of 5 minutes, like I said, that the Olasanya chance, whenever that came in the game, it kind of unsettled us a bit. Then Lewis Nielsen was carrying an injury as well. I know he went off in the second half, but Devlin as well got a knock. We were disrupted in how we were playing then. The pitch as well was pretty rubbish. So let's not try to make excuses for Hearts should have been better in the first half, and Critch actually said that. But going back to what we said about the transfer window, after maybe 25-30 minutes of that game, we grew into that game, and it felt like it was only a matter of time before we scored. We took control of the ball. We started to dictate where we wanted the play to be. They ran out of legs almost, so to speak, as to where they were aggressively pressing us. And the fact that I think they served both the strikers off before we went to extra time shows the level of which they dropped off. And in the game, they went from being very heavily impacted in the game to couldn't hold the ball up, couldn't impact the game, couldn't drag St Mirren up, and they needed some to change it. They needed legs. So we did grow back into the game, although nowhere near our fluid best. I think that aimless long ball ask Cabango to use his pace and chase it down. The gaps between him and Shankland were too big. We couldn't get Spittle into the game. Penrice and Forrester had very little opportunity to put the ball into the box. So it was a typical kick and rush cup game. I think as we brought Stillbinder in, then we brought Neuenhoff back on, Cartram on, it made a massive difference for us. I think obviously Neuenhoff scores with his first touch and gets all the plaudits, but I think you've seen the whole way through extra time what would be missing in that space. How many times was Benny within shooting distance and desperately looking for somebody to give the ball to? Neuenhoff had one sniff, one opportunity, and scores a goal that none of our other midfielders would score. Do you know what I mean? Like Devlin wouldn't have been in there trying to score. Benny wouldn't have been in there trying to score. So that was a positive, Kev, wasn't it? Is to see a midfielder come on and actually score a goal.
Yeah, I mean we've called out enough times that Devlin, this is his 4th season with us, 3rd season with us, and he scored 5 goals, something like that. Benny hasn't scored since he came back from his, let's class it, his big injury, and he only scores from a yard out. So
I remember he scored 2 slide tackles in a week and then was off for about a year.
That's it. But these are the aspects, these are the things that we've missed. That sort of midfield scoring midfielder. We've missed it for God knows how many seasons. So yeah, it's good to see him. I don't want to put too much expectation on him. He's been out for nearly a year for Neuenhoff, and it'll take a bit of time again to see him to probably the levels we expect of him. I think that's the right way of saying it.
He's definitely a player that's got better the longer he's been out. But if he can, and that was through merit, he played his way into the team. He played himself into the starting 11 by scoring goals, being combative. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on the fitter he gets, because obviously the club have protected him in his return back to the first team. So that was pretty positive. It's hard to say this given the fact that he saved 2 penalties, but should Gordon be doing better with the opening goal?
I'd say so.
I'd say so too. I think, but a keeper Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a good save, but palming it straight back out into the middle of the box is always asking for trouble in it.
The only thing you can maybe say about it is the fact it does come through a few bodies. But you're right, he's got to be, I'm not saying stronger in that situation, but he's got to be more aware and push it away for a corner rather than push it out back into the effectively the 6-yard box penalty spot.
Right. But even if it is a mistake, he makes up for it. he makes up for it. So he got away with it. So I think extra time was pretty non-eventful. I don't think there was anything even exciting that happened. There was a couple of random stops to check for penalties that no one knew what was going on. Vargas missed a sitter in extra time, didn't he? But I think it was given as a free kick anyway, so it wouldn't have
correct.
Smashed it over the bar for like 6 yards.
There was only the only other one was the one with Khartoum where he's one-on-one, or not one-on-one with the keeper, but he goes around the keeper and the boy slides in. But as I said earlier on, I think Khartoum's maybe made the wrong decision there. I think he should play in Wilson, who's in bags and bags of space. And we might not have even gone to penalties.
I can't remember that, Kev. I can't remember that chance.
I'm disgusted in you, to be truthfully honest with you. You're the kind of guy that...
For 86 minutes when Hoff scored, I don't think I took my head out my hood for the rest of the game. So I don't really know.
Normal Corbett.
Because for the whole time you were saying that, I was thinking, do you mean Cabangu? Definitely means Cabangu. Like, he's definitely talking about Cabangu. And Wilson was dead in the halfway line because Alec Gogic headered them into oblivion and didn't get a booking.
No, it was before that. It was before that opportunity. Khartoum plays in Cabangu when I think he should play in Wilson, in all honesty.
Okay.
But you can go back and watch it because I know you love doing that kind of shit.
Yeah, I've rewatched the game from the start and I have no idea what you're talking about. But fine. If you've seen it, Kev, good on you.
Thanks.
Good for you, Kev. I'm buzzing for you. But pretty non-eventful, so it goes to penalties. How were we feeling for penalties?
Never watched any of ours.
Stealing my partner, Kev. No like you. I know, Ando. We can't hear you. We've been telling you in the private chat for about 25 minutes that I can't hear what you're saying, so it's fine. Me and Kev will continue to talk to each other. You try and fix what you're doing. But I think Craig Gordon gets a hell of a lot of stick for his ability to save penalties in a match, but he did brilliant with the penalties on Monday. His first save in particular sets the tone. And actually, if people want to talk about balls, how ballsy was Wilson going up to take the first one?
Oh, without a shadow of doubt. He's taken, a massive, I'm not going to say it's a risk, but he's taken a massive responsibility on his shoulders to go in and take that first penalty and puts it away with conviction. I know Critchley spoke about it after the game and how they had actually practiced the penalties either the same day or the day before, and he's got that ability about him. So, good on the lad for taking that responsibility, getting us off to a great start, and then, as you rightly say, Gordon to get down low to his left-hand side. I don't think the guy struck it the way you would want to, but if Gordon goes the other way, you're saying that's a great penalty because he's put it in the corner. I
think what I liked about the Wilson penalty is, one, he's got the balls to go up for first and take it. But I liked, I know this sounds really stupid, but penalty shooters are all about mentality. It's all about who has it between the ears, who has the mindset, the mentality to go out and do it. The fact that he chased the ball in and smashed it into the net again, gets a second cheer for the crowd, takes the ball immediately away from the St Mirren keeper, just a bit of shithousery for a young lad that knows the game. And you look at the last two penalties, when what St Mirren were doing to Hearts to try and put them off and doing anything to try and set the tone. I think that one, for the first one, smashed into the top bag, followed in to the net, smashed into the net, gives Gordon the opportunity to, an extra few seconds to think about what he's going to do, puts their keeper on the back foot. He's now chasing the ball to get it away from Wilson rather than, picking the ball up and getting to kick it away or throw it to the St Mirren player or whatever it is. It's innocuous to some, but for me, I think it just shows you the mindset of the wee guy. Like, brilliant, really ballsy, set the tone for everybody coming after him, which was class. And then obviously Gordon saves the first one, that sets the tone. He goes one way, gets big, makes the save, and I think you're almost, if you're the penalty taker coming up, you know that they're going to go the other way, because I think, right, well, he's just made a save, got to one side, I'll change my mind and go the other. Vargas and Grant got away with it massively because there were two honking penalties that, especially Grant's, like, fair play to Grant for putting himself up and taking another penalty given what happened in Aberdeen, but my God, he needs to get off taking penalties because it was an absolute shocker. Luckily, Poppadom hands couldn't keep it out.
Exactly. I don't know if we've got Ando back yet. His lips are moving, but there's nothing coming out.
No, that's fine.
Oh well.
Yeah,
Vargas, you're right. Vargas and Grant's penalties weren't the greatest of penalties. However, they've hit the back of the net, and for that point of view, perfect. That's all you ask for in a cup game.
They were good, and then obviously, like Gerard Taylor, I think you kind of were at a point in that list where I think Benny had said, joked that he was like 11th after the kit man and somebody else because he didn't know how to hit a penalty. You're at a place, I think they'd said that Penrice and Taylor swapped positions.
Yeah.
And I don't think Taylor's penalty is any worse than anybody else. He just doesn't hit it hard enough. Grant's penalty was pretty much the same height, the same situation for the keeper. The keeper just didn't get a strong enough hand to it. So it is what it was. And then obviously James Penrice smashed in the penalty, sent us into the next round, and then the Callum Elliott to Hemmings on his way past to celebrate with Gordon.
Which I loved. I loved a lot of that. I know that their keeper and whoever took what was their last penalty, were trying to get in Penrice's head. However, he didn't let it annoy him. And actually put it away really, really well. So for that point of view, great. And for him to celebrate in front of Hearts fans, a number of people have said it in the community chat, he seems to just get us. I know he is local, he comes for Livingston, but he just gets us, which is fantastic. And I think that's why, everybody likes him as well. Seems to be just a really good guy.
Yeah, a good guy, Kev. He's a good guy. Good guy. Like, get him invited me to stag do.
No, you're fine, mate. You're fine. That means I'm going to get married. I'm trying to get out of that.
I liked it. And the thing that the sad reality is that we've got maybe 4 months left of James Penrice. I won't be surprised if he's sold for very decent money in the summer, because he's been a revelation at Hearts. He's everything that you want. I know I say it all the time, but I always go back to when we spoke to John Cahoon on here, when we had John Cahoon on the pod, and he always said something that will stick with me forever, was that, it's the easiest thing to do, play for Hearts, because all you have to do is try your best. That's it. You don't have to be good, you don't have to be brilliant, you just have to try your best. That's it. If you try your best and it doesn't work, the fans will back you, because they know that you've done everything that you possibly could. The fans start to get frustrated with you when it feels like you've got more to give and you're just not giving it. And Penrice gives you everything that he's got. Sometimes it's brilliant, sometimes it's not very good, but it is the best that you can do. And I love James Penrice. I think he's been the signing of the season. He's been superb. He's everything that you want in a Hearts player. So Paisley Pandas in the mud, battered on their home turf. The Smisa in ruins. The 4G car park in the back, out the back, smashed to smithereens. It was a good night. It was a terrible game, but it was a good result, and it was a good night.
Well, as I say, that's all you're asking. All you need is your name in the hat for the next round, and to get a home tie, as you called out earlier on, the first time in two and a half, 3 seasons, whatever it is great.
Yep. We'll probably going to be the Friday night or the Monday night again, given the TV slots. Obviously, Celtic will have to be in one of the Premier Sports slots, and as will probably the Queen's Park game, given that they knocked Rangers out. So we'll be on the BBC on the Friday or the Monday night. I would surmise would be my guess.
Aye, I would agree. I would agree with that. You
probably
probably
find the Saturday because of the egg chasing in it.
Aye, I would suspect it would probably more likely be the Friday night. That would be my preference, I must admit.
Yep.
Because, again, attendances, all that kind of stuff, you're not, no disrespect to them, but they get everything they deserve. Livy versus St Johnstone in the other game, you're not going to get many folk there anyway, so stick it on the telly.
No. The Finleys and Anguses and Murrays of this world ruining and overtaking Edinburgh for the egg chasing. Putting their willies in pints and thinking it's funny.
And their brown brogues and their jeans.
Their bootcut jeans for River Island for 2007. And their brown brogue pavement slappers. Get them in the bin, man. Get them in the bin. Right. Cool. Anything else catch your eye on Monday? I don't know what's happening in the background.
I don't know, but that was one of the scariest things I've ever seen.
He's now made himself. He can't speak. We can't hear him, so he's made his face the background, which is quite disturbing. But there we go. Anything else, Kev?
No, not from Monday anyway. I think everyone now moves on to Sunday.
Yeah, Rangers at home, knocked out of the cup by Queen's Park. The worst penalty decision since Andy Davis gave the Kyrgiakos a penalty at Tynecastle. That's not a penalty, Kev.
No.
That's not a penalty. Never in your life a penalty. And nobody is talking about it because they missed and they went out. In the 95th minute of 5 minutes added on, they get a penalty for a ball going into the box that was over his head. He was nowhere near getting it, and nobody barely touched him. And he went down, and they gave a penalty.
It's my. I've said this before in the pod. It's my biggest frustration in this element of. Firstly, that one is the ball clearly is not going to make Dessel's head. It's and even if it was to hit Dessel's head, the likelihood is it's going to go out for a by kick anyway. He's not going to get it on target. The other one I hate is when you just get the striker gets his toe to the ball, then gets clattered by the keeper. Because he's got the toe to the ball doesn't mean he's got the ball under control. Yep. The ball could go out for a throw, for a by kick, go out for a throw in, whatever it may do. That doesn't mean that is deserving of a penalty kick. Get over it. The boy never had the ball under control. Carry on. But that was one of the worst decisions. We'll see more. Don't get me wrong. And there has been, sins, but that was never a penalty.
But you're looking. They need a favour. They need something. 95th minute, they're going out in the most embarrassing fashion to a team from the lower league, and they get a penalty for absolutely nothing. And then the keeper makes an unbelievable save, and they review the forensic images to make sure that he off the line, begging, hoping that he was off the line so they could get a retake. So they roll into Tynecastle. They've been in fairly decent form up until that point. What's your thoughts?
It'll be a tough game. I think from a starting 11, Steinwender, I would say, starts the game on Saturday. The likelihood is that you would maybe say Cartoon plays as well from that point of view. And do you start Taylor? Or is bringing Taylor in to that game just asking a bit too much after he's came back from injury? Who knows? But I think a lot of the there's going to be a number of changes because, as you said earlier on, Devlin will be out because of the head knock and the concussion rule. As I say, Nielsen will be out given the fact that he came off on Monday night. So there's two positions straight away. And then, as I say, the other position is the right back slot. But everything else, as far as I'm concerned, picks itself.
Yeah, I think we'll see Hoff for Devlin, Steinwinder for Nielsen, and I'd be shocked if it's not Wilson or Khartoum for Forrest on that side. Maybe Taylor, like you said, maybe Taylor, but not 100% sure. But it'll be a tough game. I didn't want to go into I don't want to go to these things. I don't want to go to these things and think that we're going to brush teams aside. Rangers, as much as they're in poor form and have been rubbish, are still a side with good players that carry a lot of threat. So like I said, I just don't want to see us get rolled over and get our bellies tickled. Give them a game, see what happens, see where it goes. So it's all about performance for me. Again, it's one of those things, actually, the season turns completely because no one will be expecting Hearts to pick up 3 points on Sunday. And what the next coming weeks, Dundee United, Aberdeen and Hibs, they all play each other. They all also play the Old Firm. So it gives us an opportunity to, if we get 3 points, it's 3 unexpected points. Catapults us. We're already in the hunt anyway, 7 points between us and third as it stands right now. But, you could potentially be down to 4 points if we pick up a 3 points at the weekend that we didn't expect to pick up. So it's a big game. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking to see the progress. Is this a false dawn? It doesn't feel like it is. It feels like something's clicked. It feels like we're starting to fall into something that resembles our best starting 11, our best formation, our best tactics, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So, let's do score predictions and then we'll wrap it up. Ando, we can hear you now. What's your score?
Oh, thank the baby Jesus. That
What's
took a fucking while to fix that. All right, okay.
What's your score prediction for Sunday?
Who are we playing again?
Rangers.
Oh God. I'm confident. I think we'll sneak it. They'll score. We'll score. I reckon a 3-2 or a 2-1.
Nice.
For us.
Kev.
I'll go 1-1.
Kev, I will join you. I will also say 1-1. I'll say a scoring draw will be the result, hopefully.
I think actually will take it now.
But take it now. Like I said, we're on a good run. We're on a good run now. Not getting beat is essential. It keeps the pressure up. It keeps the run going. It keeps us there in everybody's thoughts. I said before, like, beating Dundee 6-0 doesn't just boost us massively. It makes people look over their shoulders and go, oh shit, like there's a big team in the rear view mirror and they're starting to click, they're starting to find some rhythm, they're starting to pick up results. That stuff matters. I think at one point were we something like 31 points behind Aberdeen if they'd won their game in hand. We were like 28 points behind them.
27.
If they won their game in hand, we would have been 30 or 31 points behind. To be sitting here right now, 5 points behind them is outrageous. So Aberdeen fans, if you're listening, if Hearts finish third this season, fold your club. Yeah, you will never, ever, ever hear the end of it from me if we overtake you after you won the league in September. If we've had our worst ever start to the season and decided to only start playing on like the 2nd of January or whatever the fuck it was when we beat Motherwell at home, and we've decided that now's when we're going to show up and play football, I'll never let you live that down. So you better hope that you start picking up points.
It has been 5 months of pissing about. Then we've finally pulled the finger at the arse and actually tried applying ourselves.
Messed about, kicked in the arse, and suddenly we're back being the team that we always knew we could be. But right, folks. Hopefully, see you all on Sunday. We'll try and get a podcast reaction to Sunday's game out Sunday night. So, yeah. All the best, boys. I'll see you all soon.
Catch you soon.
Cheers, guys.
Gargoyles.